Hello and welcome everyone to our Connected Home webinar from Delta EE. The topic of today is on the connected climate controls in Europe following the state of the markets report that we just released. The webinar is recorded as usual, so this will be made available on YouTube afterwards. If you want the slides, we can send it to you afterwards as well. If you cannot see the presentation because GoToWebinar doesn't work on your laptop, you can email info@deltaee.com for the slides right now. Through the webinar, you will be able to ask questions, so feel free to go to the questions box and ask us anything, or even just to say hi, and we will either reply to you by writing or ask the question directly in the during the webinar if we can answer it. And if we don't have time or if we can't answer it right now, we'll come back to you afterwards. So my name is Arthur Jwanik. A lot of you will know me from the past 10 years working at Delta EE on this topic. I'm also joined by my colleague Ricardo Lopez, who is our Connected Home Service Manager. Hi, Ricardo.
Hi, Arthur. Yeah, happy to be here and to present the latest highlights of our research in the connected home.
Yeah, exciting stuff actually happening in the market. We'll talk about this in a minute. Just to give you everyone's an agenda for today, so we'll try to keep it to 30 minutes. Although if there are questions, we might go over that. We'll start with a quick Delta EE update. Some of you might have heard about some news about us. We'll give an introduction about the reports itself. So if there are subscribers on this webinar, you will already know it, but for those who are not subscribing to the Connected Home service and haven't seen the report, we'll share an introduction. We'll talk on the third point about the state of the European connected climate controls markets. So what's happening, the barriers, the drivers, the market size, etc. We'll talk a bit more specifically about the key products and the key countries which are leading the way in Europe, and again, some of the interesting trends around this. And at the end, we'll talk about the future of our research around the Connected Home service. So what reports we plan to do, what data we are looking into to bring into the service, etc. And if there are some inputs that you guys would like to see in the service in the future, feel free to drop us a note again in the questions box to see if there are any reports that or data that you'd like to see from the service. So the quick 1-minute update, as some of you might have seen already, Delta EE was acquired by a company called LCP last month. And basically, you might not have heard of LCP. That's a UK-based company which has a big history around pensions, investments, and financial advice. And they have a subsidiary or business unit called LCP Energy, which is focusing a lot on the upstream side of the energy transition. And they wanted to go faster with their development in the energy transition, particularly around Europe and particularly around the downstream, midstream parts of the market, which most of you will know Delta EE is focusing on. So together we are bringing a unique proposition across the energy transition across Europe, and our ambition is to be the leader globally for advising companies in the energy transition. So exciting stuff happening, but so far in the next year or 2 years, nothing will change at all for our clients in Delta EE, and actually, if anything, a lot more will be done for our clients around this. So yeah, exciting times for us. So quick introduction to the report. So this is, I think, the number 7 or number 8, maybe even more, state of the market that we have done around the connected market, and particularly around the connected climate controls market. So this is all related to smart thermostats, for boilers, for heat pumps, connected radiator valves. So some of you might know this about ITRVs, connected electric heating, connected on the floor heating, connected hot water tanks, etc., etc. So we cover all the most of the products related to climate controls which are connected. In the report, we provide the size of the market in terms of annual sales, installed base. We provide also the forecast for the next 10 years. We provide market shares for the product companies offering this across Europe. We look at overall Europe with a focus on the biggest countries, of course. We look at the market values, so how much customers are spending on connected climate controls by product category, by country, etc. We look at the drivers, so is there anything helping or hindering the market, like regulatory context evolving, like installers, like COVID, like availability of products through the current crisis that we have, etc. And basically, the report comes with a PDF of 34 pages, which summarizes all the key trends and all the key figures. And also, it comes with a database with some of the subscribers will already be familiar with all the data points on sales by products, by route to markets, by country, by company, etc. So everything you need to know about the connector markets will be in this database. Okay, so talking more about the depth and the contents of the report now. We've seen a lot of things changing around the state of the European climate control market, but one of the interesting things, I don't know if you have seen, if you follow the news around this space, you might have seen that, but following the situation with Russia and Ukraine, Joe Biden came to Europe and gave a speech at the European Commission. And you can see the interesting quote on the right-hand side, and particularly the part where the orange boxes are. In the speech, it was mentioned that smart thermostats should be deployed at a much higher scale. In the US, it's much more advanced than in Europe, mostly because of the centralized AC systems that are easier to retrofit than the wider types of heating systems in Europe. But basically, the idea is that smart thermostats and in general connected climate controls will help customers reduce their energy consumption and therefore reduce the dependence on the Russian gas across Europe. So therefore, it's very likely that the European Commissions and the countries will be pushing through incentives, through discounts, through whatever, for connected climate controls across Europe. And that's really good news, because people are not necessarily aware of these products, but also it has a cost, and not everyone will want to spend that money on connected climate controls, although the savings are pretty much paying for it in 1 or 2 years. So we are hoping this will help the market quickly. And in the scenario where countries, governments will push more for connected climate controls, we provide some forecasts here on the left-hand side on the blue bars, where we estimate the size of the market in terms of, without any changes from governments, in terms of pushing connected climate controls, and the install base of number of homes equipped with connected climate controls across Europe. In our forecast, we estimate that 35 million homes will be equipped in 2025 and 80 million by 2030. But if we look at countries, governments incentivizing connected climate controls, for example, like the Italians did, providing rebates to connected climate controls, which worked really well, and like Germany just announced that they will do, we estimate that actually by 2030, nearly 100 million homes could be equipped with connected climate controls, a lot of which might be connected to gas boilers, and therefore customers will be empowered to help reduce their consumption from gas, and therefore again creating one more step towards independence from Russian gas, and obviously just helping in general customers save on energy consumption, which is massively important. But also a part of this will be connected controls for heat pumps, which will be a major technology in the next decade. So again, we hope that governments will provide help to help customers do that, and we forecast that the result could be a gain of 20 million homes or even more in the next 10 years. I'll hand over to Ricardo to talk about the key takeaways from 2021, specifically what happened in 2021 in Europe in the space, and then talking a bit more details about different aspects of the market. Ricardo.
Thank you, Arthur. Yeah, so before we dive into the slides, I'd like to start with highlighting the main takeaways of our research, as Arthur mentioned, for 2021, which we will be explaining throughout across the webinar in the next slide. So from here, we can see that for us, the main takeaways from last year is that the market is growing. The market is growing fast. There's many technologies. Of course, it depends on the type of product and the type of the market. So some of the markets are growing at different pace. Some are less mature than the other ones. So the case of Italy and France is different to how they're growing in the UK and the Netherlands or Germany. And Arthur said there's other products that we will see in the future going more like heat pumps growing much more in the next few years. But now we see that the market is growing and is going in the good way. Customers are also spending more. This is even despite the products are becoming more accessible. The companies are offering lighter version or cheaper versions of their products, and despite that, we see the market is customers are spending more money on this. Definitely, customer awareness. Customers have been realizing the benefits of this. Now, when we see the energy crisis hitting our pockets, we can see that it's not only about comfort, or it's not only about being a tech guy in your house and adding these controls. It's more than that. As well, governments are doing that, realizing that, and there are many incentives across a few countries, and we expect more coming. As well, the industry is trying to push more towards services and related to this heating and cooling systems. And in order to offer these services, connectivity is a key role of that. They need to be connected to offer these services. However, we still see a few barriers in the market. One of them is just we have been present for the past few years is the way you can, or the industry can, incentivize or train as well installers. It requires resources, and the customers trust the installers, so that is a really important way to do it, and many players are figuring this out as well. There's been still COVID restrictions in many countries, so that also in certain countries didn't allow the installation of many products, and as well a bit of a shortage in some components that is affecting many industries. But yeah. So talking now specifically about the market size, well, in 2021, there were just under 4 million households acquiring a connected climate control. As we said, the market is growing. We expect that by 2030, it will be more than double annual sales, so reaching 11 millions. And that's in that our current forecast, as Arthur mentioned before, there could be, if the governments and other industry players play the role they should play, this could be even higher. Connected thermostat is the largest, and it will remain at being the largest for a few years. Product in the market. However, we've seen that connected TRVs, the radiator valves, is being growing significantly. Traditionally, in many countries, this is more like an add-on toward when you have already a smart thermostat. So customers are realizing the benefits of this, and they are buying more of these products. Other countries or other customers, they already have some, and they are buying more and more. For example, is in Germany that we see an increase of these acquisitions. Connected electric heating is a established market that is growing at a stable pace. for countries such as France that traditionally been a electric-based country. Connectivity is also offering a key part of this product. For the connected AC, there's many countries that they use this product, and we see that is recovering from the past years where COVID hit this. As well, we include this the air-to-air heat pumps, and we will see that is becoming stronger across many countries. Good advantage of this product is it's really easy to control. So that's a good advantage, and we see that we expect this market to grow. In terms of connected on the floor heating, well, Germany remains at the top country in this area. This type of technology is really linked to the new build sector and as well to heat pumps, which is taking off in many countries. So we definitely see this product to continue and to expand in many more countries, especially when there's more legislation requiring more efficient heating systems across Europe. For connected hot water tanks as well is growing from a small base, but we've seen that many HVACs are offering embedded connectivity in these products. Right now, they are the leaders in this market. It's easier for the customer to acquire a product that already has embedded, and they feel that they don't have to invest more money, whereas they retrofit with a control that still price could be a barrier in this area. So, but we see that more products are offering connectivity in less expensive products, so not moving on not only on the premium category but also lower tiers. So yeah, we see this market growing. France is one of the leaders in this area. And moving to connected heat pumps, well, I think we all know that everybody's talking about heat pumps. Governments are having really high plans on deploy more and more with high targets across the next few years. And the way we see this market is that connectivity is playing a big role. Because of the price, it's easier to justify connectivity. So many countries, like in the Nordics, where they have a bit of a mature heat pump market, they are expecting having connectivity in this type of products, as I said, because of the price. So it's going to be easier to justify this, and the more heat pumps are installed, then we will see that connectivity for this technology will grow. As well, there's services related to this product, like remote heating diagnostics. Heat pumps rely a lot in efficiency, so we will see that also services will push for this as well. And just to finalize, as mentioned, the remote diagnostic. Well, a lot of companies are thinking about this. Many and more are offering more and more. And as I said, connected heat pumps will play a huge role for this service. So we expect this service to keep growing. But right now, we still see that the main offering goes for gas boilers, and with the deployment of more thermostat, we see that more players playing around. In terms of the customers spending money in these climate controls compared to the previous year, compared to 2020, we've seen an increase that over 20% in this type of products. As I said, despite that products are being slightly cheaper, this is related that more and more customers are buying more products. And large part of this customer spend goes to the product itself. Some of the HVAC or shops or even control companies, sometimes they offer installation included, or if you install a new heating system, sometimes they install at the same time. So the big share of this customer spend goes to the product itself. Then a small part is the installation. As I said, most of the connected control for, let's say, heat pumps, underfloor heating, that goes to new installations. So typically they install it at the same time. But we see that the pro channel is becoming stronger, and we will talk about that in the further slides. Then subscription, the they're still not too big, but we've seen now how it's been increasing, and a lot of the companies are developing strategies on how to move towards a recurring revenue. Some of them are already offerings with some services in, for example, with smart thermostat offering consumption insights, forecast, and other services as well. Remote diagnostic is a big part of that, but we clearly see that the industry is moving towards this. And when we see, for example, services like home energy management that start to get more and more interesting or more noisy in the industry, we clearly see that subscription is the target in the next few years. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and particularly interesting for heat pumps as well, because heat pumps cost a lot more than gas boilers, and where we will see governments actually pushing for that and discounting heat pumps, there will still be a need for some households to acquire heat pumps with not a lot of discounts. Some companies are offering what they call heat as a service, and therefore a whole package where customers pay a monthly fee for example, a heat pump, a smart thermostat, remote diagnostics, maybe electricity in the package. And therefore, how to create a subscription package that's interesting enough for customers and the product company would be a key question. And therefore, there is a way to earn subscription revenues using this sort of business models for smart thermostat companies. So that's an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, that's correct, Arthur. And talking about market value by sales channel, as mentioned before, product channel is becoming stronger, particularly between these four. Retail and pro channels are the ones that grew more. Actually, those are the ones that grew during 2021. Energy suppliers, they are selling. They're still figuring out solutions, and they're still offering connected products, but they're moving towards more services. So they're still kind of stop offering in certain countries. Telcos, yeah, they have been slowing down. This is mainly in Germany where they remain offering more controls, but across Europe they have been stopping offering products. And then we can see that retail and pro channel are becoming stronger. Retail, well, during COVID, products, a lot of companies, a lot of customers were buying their products online, or it's easier to acquire this. Also, some HVACs are starting to offer some of the products in their online shops, while they still go, the main route to market is via pro channel, but I think everybody's trying to offer their products as well online. That definitely brings this sale channel to grow more. But talking particularly about the pro channels, this year, 2020, it was a significant and important year. As Arthur mentioned, there's been a few incentives across Europe, and they're offering rebates or incentives to install these connected camera controls, and these mainly go via the pro channel. So the installer claims the benefit back after the installation, or the customer, but after the installer has been installed the connected product at home.
Then it's actually an important point, Ricardo, because if you take the example of the French government, which tried to do an incentive for particular connected for particular controls, but some connected, the admin aspect of getting the money for the installers back from the installation is really a pain, and to make this a success, governments will have to really simplify the process to provide the money to installers. Otherwise, they won't take the time to actually do this. So in some countries like Italy and hopefully Germany in the future, that might be easier. But if the incentive is really hard to get for the installer's perspective, they won't just do it. They would have other things to do, and it's not worth it for 50 or 100 euros. So how to create this in an easy way for installers would be really absolutely key.
Yeah, that's true. I think that you're touching a really key point, that it has to be clear and straightforward the process. Otherwise, you're just not people will not go for this type of incentives. And talking about the way we see some sub channels, particularly from the professional channel, traditionally they go a lot towards the new build or social housing or multifamily homes and so on. But particularly, we've seen these three sub channels growing the fastest, particularly the new build. There's still a few limitations there, like connectivity at the beginning, but these are the ones that we see growing the most. Social housing definitely is every country that has a big penetration of social housing is talking about this. Is how can they offer connectivity in this type of housing? And definitely Pro Channel is gonna take a big part of this and make the way to it and to make this grow.
Yeah, and the idea, I mean, in the past, that the problem with some homes is that either the heating system was not compatible, or the user of the home wasn't the decision maker in terms of what kind of system to install. So that's where socializing new build and multifamily homes will become really important parts of the connected climate control ecosystem, because these are harder to deal with. And actually, we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but these are some of the studies we are planning to do next on what kinds of products might be fitted for these installations, what sort of strategies companies have, and how we see the future of these channels.
And then moving to talking about the specific countries and products. Here you can see a map, which the darker the color means higher penetration. So we've seen that, you can see also highlighted in blue the top 6 countries, where, for example, is the UK, Netherlands, Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. You can see a high penetration of connected controls in the Netherlands, but also is related to the size of the country, population, and products sold there. But also an important part there is that we've seen also in Eastern European countries start to give more importance. So in terms of, we expect this to grow in the upcoming years. And the Nordics is a bit of an established market, but every market, every country is evolving in a different way, and it's really interesting to go into deep in each of them. So here in this slide, we can see the comparison of the market size from 2021 to 2020. So how of these top 6 markets did or performed. So it doesn't mean that they're doing bad or they're not selling markets or it's saturated. It's just that there were a few restrictions or a few products that they're more important on these markets, and they didn't do as extremely well as other products. So, for example, Germany they were selling so many connected TRBs that it made him go, let's say, to sell more than previous year and become today the largest market in terms of annual sales. However, for example, for UK, it still is the largest smart thermostat market with installed base and annual sales, but it didn't grow as much as others, but still is growing. And that's mainly because as COVID restrictions happened, installers were not able to enter the homes of the customers. Then there's a bit of players are trying to define their solutions across the service, this product. So that's one of the main situation with the UK. With France and Italy, particularly with Italy, the incentive that we have been mentioned several times in this webinar, this definitely pushed the market as well. France and Italy have a large install base of heating and cooling system, so and they are coming from a small base, let's say. So it makes sense they're growing super fast. They still have plenty of market to grow. There's many, as we said, many gas boilers, many electric heating, heat pumps are becoming stronger. So that's why we see the market growing more at the moment. The same Netherlands, it is becoming a definition of a strategy of the companies, still selling significant amount of climate controls, and we believe and we see that once the less mature technologies start to become stronger, these markets will grow as well. So let's say heat pumps, hot water tanks. So these are technologies that are coming from a relatively low base, but it's going to be stronger in the next few years, and this definitely is going to change year on year. Spain has a growth that it was similar to the previous year. So still is a bit of a country that has a bit of a price sensitivity, but we've seen more products offering there, more companies trying to develop solutions that will integrate this control. So we expect as well to become stronger in the next few years. And that's it. That was our main takeaways of this report. Market size, as I mentioned, is growing. It will grow even further in the next few years. Hopefully, if governments and industry players and customer play their role correctly, this market will grow even faster than we expect. The markets are evolving quite dynamically, and they're really product dependent, and as well there were other factors as we said, the customer appetite, incentives on that are maturing these markets, and we expect to more countries to offer this type of solution, so they will evolve even faster and a different way as well. Customers are spending more money, and we believe that they will keep going in this growing this in this expenditure. Customers are realizing all the benefits, governments as well, so they're offering solutions, industries pushing for more services. But yeah, we still there's a long way to go there to do with these sellers, with many other things. So that's in a quick point the main takeaways of this report.
Thank you, Ricardo. And to finish off this webinar talking about the future of what we plan to do in terms of reports and data, we asked our clients of the service what else they would like to see in the service. So we are doing a number of studies, but these are the future ones. We talked with Ricardo about connectivity by type of housing, so the social housing, new builds, communal heating systems in flats, etc. That's definitely an interest from the industry. Interoperability, so how to connect connected controls with heating systems, cooling systems is a major issue, and also potentially how to integrate that within a wider smart home or a wider home energy management system. So again, we're probably doing a report on this in the next 12 months. The role of connectivity in heat as a service, as we mentioned, is key, but because this will become a major business model in the next 10 years, especially as heat pumps grow fast. Remote diagnostics is always a topic we are researching, so we are providing an update in the next few months about these topics. And potentially as well some more research into Eastern European markets, because the markets are growing actually fast from a very, very little install base, and we see some opportunities for controls companies to expand in different countries. So it's an interesting one to research. If there is anything else that you guys on the webinar would like to see or are interested in having research from us, feel free to drop this in the questions box or by email afterwards. But we see this as a potentially our pipeline for our roadmap for the next reports that we might do. And to finish off a bit about what we are doing, what we have done already in the Connected Home service. So these are some of the most recent reports that we have on the service. So on the top left, you will see the one that we just published, which is what we call our annual state of the market. Some interesting stuff that we've been doing, particularly on the right-hand side, is related to the technology angle, linked to the types of heating and cooling systems. So heat pumps, hot water tanks, on-the-floor heating, remote diagnostics, and AC. So We are doing specific studies on these technologies, looking at the landscape of companies with products in the market, the size of the market, the drivers, how the system actually works and how it can be retrofitted with controls. And on the left-hand side, more energy-related topic with viewpoints on acquisitions in the market, home energy management. We've just spun off the topic of that in a different service, but we're still looking at how connected climate controls integrate within the home in a wider energy system within the home. And we are doing country reports, so more detailed analysis on country by country, which we will be releasing in the next few months going forward as well, the updates. And on top of this, obviously, the big database with all the sales from all the products, by product, by country, by route to market, etc. So this is what we provide in the service. So if you're not subscribing to this and are interested in growing your market, share in growing in launching in new countries or looking at opportunities, this subscription is really tailored for you. Some also public stuff that we have done. So some of you will know that we have a podcast called Talking New Energy, and we have recently done a few podcasts on the connected climate controls, particularly around heat pumps, on hot water tanks, and on communications around different assets within the home. So I encourage you to look at our website and to go see these podcasts if you're particularly interested in these topics. These are really, really interesting discussions that we're having. And for those who don't know Delta E or would like to have an update on what we have been up to, the Connect Home service is a part of our subscription portfolio. We have a lot of research around digitalization of the home, so related to home energy management, to energy insights, so how the energy consumption data can be used. EV charging is a major topic of research at the moment across Europe, all in residential, in public, at work, with smart charging, with V2G, etc. We have a lot of research around heating and business models, so how the heating market is changing, how the heat pump market will evolve across Europe, and so on. A lot of research around how electricity particularly is evolving, with research on flexibility, so demand response, on energy communities, on peer-to-peer trading, on batteries, storage, etc. And we're providing a lot more across the energy transition. And all of this is driven by the team. So every topic has its team of experts. But basically, this is not just a series of reports and studies. There is a large team of experts who are here to help you on a daily basis, to advise you with their expertise and their experience in the energy transition. But each team has its own specialties and expertise, and we are really here to make the energy transition a success and accelerate the whole thing. So that was it for the webinar today. We will be sending you a follow-up email with the link and the slides. If you have any questions, I've seen a few questions actually in the question box, but we're running out of time, so we'll get back to you individually. If you have any more questions, feel free to email Ricardo or myself or the info@delta.e, and we'll be happy to answer that. And yeah, thank you for taking the time. Always appreciate so many of you joining for these webinars. And see you next time. And thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you, Arthur. And yes, bye.